So we will continue. I just want to recap what has been said earlier. We have talked about what is management, why to study management, and then we talked about the what managers do, and we said that there are three different approaches we can look at. There is a functional approach we can look at. We discussed four functions: planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. We said that planning is setting the goals and deciding how best to achieve them. Organizing is allocating and arranging human and non-human resources to achieve the goals, and then leading is influencing and motivating people to achieve the goals, and finally controlling is monitoring and taking corrective actions if the goals are not achieved. So these are the four functions which almost all managers are involved, and we said last time that even without knowing, we individuals are involved in these different four functions. Then we talked about the roles approach, and in the roles approach we discuss broadly there are three categories. We can say the roles of interpersonal, informational roles, and decisional roles, and within those roles we discuss several other roles, and then we discuss the different skills needed to perform well in the organizations. We said that there are four skills that are very important. These are the conceptual skills, technical skills, and the human and interpersonal skills, and finally the political skills. So far we have covered that much, and now we will continue about some more things like for example, is the manager's job universal, and we will see that there are different levels in the organizations, and according to the level or size of the organization, or whether the organization is profit or non-profit, or whether the organization exists in developing countries or developed countries, how the manager's job may differ. So let's look at that. We see from here in this slide that according to the levels in the organization, the organizations have different levels. There are top managers, there are middle managers. We will come to these hierarchical structures as well later on. We will see few slides. So there are top managers, and there are middle managers, and first level managers. These we can say that the first level managers, they are spending most of their time in leading. We have discussed all these four functions. Now we are looking at that how much time do they spend, or energy do they spend in different levels of management. And we can see that first level managers who are working directly with the non-managerial employees, they are spending most of their energies or time is in leading. They do less of planning and less of organizing. Whereas if we look at the top managers, they do most of organizing and planning. Because they are the top level, the planning function is highly needed, and maybe organizing, these two functions, they spend a lot of time and energies there. They need less time in leading, because the people whom they are working with, they are already middle management, they are already motivated, so they don't spend so much time on that. Controlling function is similar, and middle management we can say is in between first level managers and top managers. Now these percentages are just indicatives. Maybe they are coming from some survey, but of course it will depend on which organizations and what levels of management are there, and it does not necessarily that for example in a university or in some other organization the top management is spending 28% time or etc. This may be just indicative numbers are there. It doesn't mean that they are exact ones. Regarding this size of the organization, we look at the roles approach. We see that these small organizations, small firms, the managers' roles, most of the time the small organizations, the top management has this role is spokesperson, and their moderate role is entrepreneur and figurehead and leader, and less of disseminator. It is possible that is small organizations, he doesn't have to disseminate to that much. Maybe most of the planning is done by at the top level. Whereas in the large firms, the managers are mostly, the top managers are resource allocators. Their times or their energies or their role is more of a resource allocator, and whereas their roles of liaison, monitor and disturbance handler, negotiator is of moderate type, and then lower role is there of an entrepreneur. So we can see that the size of the organization, it will, according to the organization size, we can say that the roles may differ. In larger organizations, resource allocator role may be more, and in smaller firms, the spokesperson role may be more dominant. Then regarding the organizations, whether profit or not-for-profit organizations, we can say that all these functions are carried out, whether it is a profit organization or not-for-profit organization. They do planning, organizing, leading and controlling. In profit organizations, their goals may be to have higher profits, more rate of returns, giving higher dividends to the shareholders, etc. Not-for-profit organizations may have different objectives. They may have, but they still want fundings. They still wants to have funds so that the not-for-profit organizations still keep functioning. But anyway, all these roles are there. All these functions, functional planning, organizing, leading, and controlling, they all are involved in these organizations, whether profit or not-for-profit. Regarding national borders, one can ask whether these roles or whether these functions differ. We can say that if the organization is working in some developed country and underdeveloped countries, of course they will be doing planning, organizing, leading, controlling. All these functions will be there, but there is possibility of some styles may be different. For example, leadership style may be in developed countries, the leadership style may be more democratic, whereas in a developing country working in China or Middle East, the managers may be more autocratic, the decision making may be more autocratic, and the decision making may be centralized, whereas in developed countries the decision making may be decentralized, etc. However, we can say that the planning, organizing, leading and controlling is done at each level. This, of course, the planning and the controlling functions may also differ from one country to another. Controlling may be more formal. In developing countries, they may require, they may have to keep check on the employees, etc. On the other hand, in the developed countries, the controlling may be of different nature, maybe by reports, etc. So there are some differences. However, they all involved in planning, organizing, leading and controlling.
And in terms of control, for example, when we talk about national borders, some companies have opted out for cloud-based systems where they could collect the reports and data and provide and advise accordingly. So since they are not confined to one specific region, they have to utilize the internet and basically spread their wing of leading, organizing, and so on.
Thank you very much. Now we look at the different hierarchical levels. We have top managers. It's like a pyramid structures. Any organizations, there is top managers, there are fewer. Then there is a middle managers, and then first line managers, and maybe team leaders. Nowadays team leaders are also in many organizations. There are teams who work on certain projects. They typically report to the first line managers. So we have these top managers, which are at the top levels of the hierarchy, who are ultimately responsible for the entire organizations. These may be called chief executive officers, CEOs, presidents, executive vice president, executive director, senior vice president, etc. These may be their designations. As middle managers who are working under the top level of the hierarchy are directly responsible for the work of managers at lower levels, and they are responsible for carrying out the plans which are done by the top management. Managers, these are called managers, directors, chiefs, department heads, division heads, project leaders, etc. These may be their designations. And we have first line managers or supervisors. Managements at the lowest level of the hierarchy are directly responsible for the work of operating on non-managerial employees. And as I said that they can be called supervisor, shift managers, or unit coordinator. And as I said that team leaders are team leaders, that those manage activities of a work team become more common as organizations have moved to using employees' work teams to do work. They typically report to a first line managers. This is team leaders or team working is becoming common in some organizations, and team leaders, they report to the first line managers.
So in terms of a family, for example, the father could be the top manager, the father and the mother, and perhaps elder children become middle managers, and then the infants and younger children comes underneath.
Yeah, that's a good example. Trying to relate with all of us. Yeah, real life. Yeah, true. Here is a different way of looking at. We have top level management, middle and first level, and we are showing also the different departments: marketing, accounting, finance, human resources, research and development, engineering. All are working, and these may be at the top level. The person may be an accounting background, or he may be from engineering background. That depends on the organization and also upon who is more competent. As you can see, one person who is leading at the top may not be technically skilled in all these different areas, but he may be conceptually very good. He might have a good conceptual skills to work properly at this level. Here is another way of looking at these levels. The information goes from bottom to top, and decisions comes from top to bottom. At the top management, they set the long range objectives, perform strategic planning, make strategic decisions crucial for the survival of the organizations. Top managers are involved in these. They're basically doing planning and organizing functions, whereas middle managers is responsible for achieving the goals set by senior management, and they coordinate the work at the first level management. And finally, the first level managers, they allocate resources, carry out the operations, and ensure quality of the work, because they are directly responsible to get the work done through the non-managerial staffs like technicians, electricians, or other people who are non-managers.
Another example that I think of is the human body. The human body has a top manager, which is the brain. It has middle management, some of the organs of the human body, and then and it could go and be considered at lower levels as well. So basically, a human body works very nicely. It collects information from the sensors, from the skin, from the tongue, from all the external components, but then it's making a decision, and the decision comes from the brain, and it goes all the way to the body parts.
Thank you very much. It's a good analogy to look at. Here we see that there are different levels of management, and what these designations are in different types of organizations. We can see that in business organizations, the top people are called CEOs, Chief Executive Officers, Managing Directors, MDs, or Presidents. In the middle level, they are called superintendent and managers, and at first level, they are called supervisors. In educational organizations, they are called vice chancellors or president. Middle management is called deans, and the first level managers are called department heads. In governmental organizations, there are top levels are called ministers, chairman, cabinet secretary. At middle management level, they are called general directors or directors, and at first levels, they are usually called section heads. This is another way of looking at, we already have seen a pie chart, and this is in the pie chart we had some percentages given. I think this is the better way to say see that rather than giving the percentages. We can see that the top managers, they are more involved in planning and organizing and less of leading, whereas in the first line management we have more of a leading and less of planning, etc. So this is a better way of saying the things rather than giving the percentages. Middle managers are middle, as the word itself is saying, it's something in between. And now this is another way of looking at is from the skills point of view. We can see that at the top managers level, the conceptual skills are more needed, highly needed, whereas technical skills are less needed. As I said, the top person will be only perhaps one person, and he may be trained in one skill only. So at that level, technical skills become less important, and it becomes more important to have conceptual skills. Whereas at the first line managers, they need more technical skills because they are the ones who are responsible for getting the things done, and they should be technically very strong at that level where they are working. And the human skills are needed everywhere, whether at the top level or at the lowest level. We can have horizontal dimension also. We have seen the hierarchical dimensions. We can have horizontal dimension. These designations are like they are senior management, like general managers, functional managers, and project managers. They are senior management. General managers are managers who have responsibility for a whole organization or a substantial subunit that include most of the common specialized areas. The functional managers are responsible for a specific specialized area of the organization and supervise mainly individuals with expertise and training in that area. For example, marketing, vice president marketing. This vice president marketing is responsible for marketing. Under him, all the people will be working, marketing personnel will be working under him. So they are specialized in that specific area. Another senior management position is project managers, the managers who have responsibility for coordinating efforts involving individuals in several different organizational units who are all working on a particular projects. So project managers are like mini CEOs. They are responsible for that particular project, and all different people from different backgrounds are working under the same project. This is some horizontal dimension. Now finally, we look at what are the factors that are reshaping and redefining management, or we can say what are the contemporary issues nowadays of management, related to management. These are changing workplaces and changing workforce. We know that many changes are occurring. The Nowadays, people are working from their homes, telecommuting. The workforce is also changing as more of globalization is occurring. People from different nationalities, ethnic groups, and sexual orientations, they are working as well. So there are sensitivities to all these different types of people, different groups, different ethnic groups, different type of people. When working together, they have some sensitivities, they have different backgrounds. So these are the issues which are related to modern management, how to control and how to keep the things functioning well. Also, the workplaces are changing. We can see that the people are working more from home. They are also, the organizations are multinational, and more globalization is there. Maybe the work is taking place in India, but the organization is functioning in United States. So these workplaces are also changing, and how to keep the control and how to keep the managers and the employees intact is it's an issue. Consistent high quality customer service is essential to survival. We have heard this, that customer is the king. So customer service and customer satisfaction is very important, and high quality customer service is essential for the survival of the company. And again, these people are the employees are not only those who are working with marketing, but the other employees are also very important for them to be courteous to the customers, and for high quality of customer service. Nothing is more risky than not innovating. Innovation is becoming very, of course, with dynamic environment, changing everything, new competitors coming, new technology may come. Nothing is more risky than not innovating. If you don't innovate, you will be left behind, and that's very important. And this is, we have seen in modern times that many organizations have been, because they didn't innovate or they didn't see what's coming in the future, they were out of the business. Importance of social media, connecting with customers and managing human resources. Social media, the use of social media is becoming more and more important, and the use of this, many organizations are using this to connect with customers, and also they are managing human resources. Of course, social media is a double-edged sword. It has negative impact also. Anything which can go wrong can also be the name of the company or the organization is at stake, because the social media is very active, and it can easily tarnish the name of the company. So it has to be used very properly. Importance of sustainability. Integrating economic, environmental and social opportunities into business strategies. Of course, nowadays, without talking about sustainability and environmental consciousness, since people are socially aware of these issues, they are very concerned about that, and the organizations have to act responsibly, and they, in their economic and environmental and social opportunities, they have to integrate this into their business strategies. Finally, the managers matters. It has been seen that the managers are very important for the employee productivity, loyalty and engagement, because there are several surveys which have been done, and they say that the employees who left the organizations, most of the first reason they said that why they left the company, because they had bad relationship with their bosses. So the employee productivity and loyalty and engagement depends on employee-manager relationships, and it's very important to be good managers. We have completed this, and there are review questions. We will go through them later. Yeah.